Hey guys, Ryan here. If you're looking for the best sniper support after Season 1 Reloaded of Warzone 2, then look no further than this video. And with that being said, the first gun we're going to talk about in this video is going to be the AK-74U. Now, I'm going to quickly jump into the build, but one thing I really want to advise is be cautious tuning this. I'm going to give you the tuning values for the way I use it, but just try it without the tuning first. And if you want to tune it, make your own adjustments. You can copy mine, and with just the default tuning, you have a really good gun that's good in the mid-range, has good damage up close, has an extremely high headshot multiplier, good ADS times, and is just overall probably the most solid sniper support in the entire game to me. I do want to clarify that I think this sniper support is more meant for more conservative players, although it can still be useful in an aggressive player's hands. I just think the next sniper support I'm going to talk about is going to be a little better for aggressive players, and I'll explain why when I get to it. So I'm going to pull the attachments up once again really quick, and once I said, you can look at my tuning in the background, but just be careful when you tune your gun, guys. You can really mess it up, and you just have to find your own balance with it. Anyways, moving on from there, we're going to get into the second gun, and that's going to be the Vasnav 9K. Right now, I think this might be my favorite gun in the entire game, but you have to be a more aggressive player to really get its full value and worth as a sniper support, so just keep that in mind. In the background clip, you're seeing me use a ground loot version, and I think this just makes my point even more. Even with the ground loot version, I used a ground loot Vasnav 9K in solo mini royale trios. I was the only one in a trios game mode using ground loot, and I dropped 15 kills. And this gun is a huge reason why. Of course, it has to do a lot with my play and everything like that, but to me, if a 2 or 1 attachment ground loot version of a gun is good enough for me to use that late into a game, then it's probably going to be extremely good when you have it built. And the build I have for it, I think, is actually extremely good if you're a more aggressive player. I think that's the whole catch to this gun. You only really want to use it if you're a more aggressive player, and if you're not an aggressive player, you probably want to use either the next option I'm going to talk about or the AK-74U. If you could picture it on a spectrum, the AK-74U is the middle ground, this little Vasnav 9K is for the more aggressive players, and the STB is for the more conservative and slower players that really want to have a gun that's super solid damage up close and in the mid-range, but it's a little slower overall. I'm just going to let this last background clip play, but overall I really think this gun's insane, and I'm going to pull up the build right now. I'm also just going to quickly recommend, don't really tune this thing. I messed with the tunings in the background, but this was more to get the tunings correct for mouse and keyboard, so that's why I'd really recommend not to use them, because I don't even think they're that good overall. Anyways, moving on from there, we're going to get into the third gun, and I already talked about it earlier, and that's the STB 556. So I'm going to get into the build, but I wanted to talk about why I really don't even have the best gameplay footage for this gun. When I use it with an assault rifle and the way I build it there, it's extremely effective for me because I love to push, I'm super aggressive. But as a sniper support, it's not the best one for me. However, I think from an objective standpoint, and when I use it and when I really focus on slowing down my play, that's when I see its value, and that's why I'd really recommend it. Now, the tunings for this gun, they can be very useful, but don't trust my tunings. I'm making this for myself to make it a little more aggressive. I would tune it yourself and really focus on making this gun a laser beam that dominates in the mid-range, and really focus on using your sniper in the long range. Now, I know that sounds easy in concept, yeah, just isolate gunfights, but the main strength of the STB, in my opinion, is it's more than good enough up close to win gunfights, and that's what really sets it apart from a lot of the other slower or more conservative sniper supports I could mention. I'm going to have a little honorable mentions list, and I'm going to talk about some, but what really stands out for me is the ability to compete with the Fennec up close as long as you hit 1 or 2 headshots, and I think that's what makes this so special. So moving on from there, we are going to get into the honorable mention category, and let's talk about some of these. So up first, we're going to have the FSS Hurricane, at number 2, the M4, number 3, the Vel 46 or the MP7, and at number 4, and certainly not last, the TAC 56. If any of the guns on that list, or any guns I didn't even list in this video, are more preferable for you to use because of comfort, because you enjoy the recoil more or something, then use those. One thing I really want to reiterate, and the reason I have those guns in the honorable mentions, is because those guns can be better than any of the options I just listed, especially if they're more suited for your playstyle or you're just better at hitting your shots with that gun. The FSS Hurricane's a prime example. The time to kill is not as good as other guns, it's really nothing special in the damage department. However, the recoil is extremely minimal, so if you aren't able to control recoil that well, then the FSS Hurricane's probably your best bet as a sniper support, and it's going to be one of the best options without a shadow of a doubt, and that's where a lot of people go wrong. Of course, when you watch this video, you also have to understand I'm primarily a controller player. I do play mouse and keyboard a little bit, but I am primarily a controller player, and all of the footage and all of the time I played today and the past couple days with my snipers been on controller. So when I make this list, it's for controller players and not mouse and keyboard players, and that's something a lot of people have to keep in mind. But once again, any of the guns on the honorable mentions list, like the FSS Hurricane, the MP7, or the Vel 46, whatever you want to call it, are going to be good for aggressive players. And then the TAC 56, now that's going to be more made for conservative players, and the M4 is going to be kind of similar to the AK-74U, where it's a hybrid. You can use it aggressively, it's still going to be good in the mid-range, it's going to have minimal recoil, but I would primarily recommend using it in a more conservative playstyle fashion. Okay, that's kind of a mouthful. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you found the right sniper support for you and your playstyle, and I hope you understand why I'm focusing so much on playstyle. Not every gun is meant for every player, and don't let these YouTubers that I enjoy watching their content, but don't let them tell you otherwise. Anyways guys, it's been Ryan. I hope you have a good day. Peace.